This person?
It's a person.
Okay.
It started moving, and then I was like, "Oh, is that a person?" He's like, "Sleeping." Sorry, guy in the back. He already said it's okay though.
Okay.
I don't even know if it's a guy or a girl.
Did you start yet?
Like, yeah, is that a person? Sleeping. Sorry, guy in the back. He already said it's okay though.
Okay.
I don't even know if it's a guy or a girl.
What are you doing, dude? This is way better than ATP, by the way.
It's way better than what? What's up, Internet? It's way better than what?
Beef kicks.
I'm not sure what you're talking about. But, Internet, what's going on? How's everybody doing? You're watching ATP Live. My name is Eris, and I am joined by a very special guest down below, Mr. Hyungjin, all the way from Korea, JDCR. What's up, man? How you doing?
I am pretty good. Nice to meet you guys.
All right. I have to tell you, I'm really pleased that you're here because it's not that easy to schedule something like this all the way from Korea. You have a person sleeping behind you. It's not easy, but I'm really excited. This is a rare occasion, so I really appreciate it. And of course, we're joined by Rip as well. What's up, Rip? How's it going?
What's up? Doing good?
All right. So before we get into talking with Hyungjin about all the details that I'm interested in asking him, you said that there's something that you wanted to mention before we get into that that's pretty interesting. So take it away.
Well, yeah, I mean, as you guys know, Double Helix was the developer of Killer Instinct for Season 1. Today, they announced for Season 2, the developer is actually going to be Iron Galaxy. And Iron Galaxy Studios, they've made a lot of ports. They did the Third Strike Online. They made one of the Marvel ports. I think also a Darkstalkers port. But they're most famously known for publishing Dive Kick. And so it's really interesting, that they went with this studio to take over Killer Instinct for Season 2. They announced that Full Gore is coming out April 9th, which is the last thing that Double Helix did, along with lobby support, like arcade mode. But yeah, Iron Galaxy, Killer Instinct Season 2. It's going to be interesting. I don't know how it's going to go, but, we'll see.
Do you have any further thoughts on that? Iron Galaxy was the publisher of Dive Kick, but not the developer, right?
Well, I think Keats and them were developing it, and then Iron Galaxy brought them on board and kind of helped develop and publish it.
Okay.
So, I think they have some development experience, except, it's one thing to create and balance a game like Dive Kick, and then it's another to make like a real fighting game with real characters that have other moves. So it's going to be very, very interesting. And apparently they were one of the companies that were in the original pitches trying to get KI as the game for Microsoft. But, they didn't win out at the time. So, they had, I think, too small of a team or something. But now that the base engine is built and they only have to build like additional content on top of that, I think Microsoft is more comfortable. So, yeah.
Interesting news. I'm interested, but I guess, does that mean anything for you? Like, are you going to continue working on guides for the game?
Well, I already finished the Full Gore guide. I've submitted it already. It's done. It's just a matter of when they're going to put it online. But as far as I know, Prima Games was only contracted to do Season 1. So whether that contract gets extended to Season 2, etc., I don't know. But if they do pick it up, then I'm going to be flying to Chicago every couple months. So that's going to be crazy.
Wow, interesting. Well, I hope it works out. Interesting news. Is there anything else you before we start talking to JDCR?
We can go to JDCR.
Okay, all right. Hyungjin, there are a lot of things that I want to ask you about. Recently, just maybe a week or two ago, you won final round, and it was known basically to be the biggest American Tekken Tag Tournament 2 tournament so far, by far. I mean, and maybe not in terms of entrance, because EVO had a lot of entrants, but as far as skill level, the best players from the United States and many other countries were there. And there are a lot of things that I want to ask you about, not only about Final Round, but also about just Tekken in general, the arcade back in Korea, Green Arcade, and all that stuff. And I'm actually just thinking about it right now. I don't even know where to begin. There's so many things I want to ask this guy. Okay, so let's start with just Tekken, okay, the game itself, before we start talking about Final Round or anything else.
Right.
I've heard you many times. You said that you play very little. Like the amount of time you actually spend on the game, actually practicing, is only a few hours a week. Is that true?
Yeah, that's true. I used to play a lot in Tekken 6 PR when we had a Tekken class like that.
Mm-hmm.
But then these days I just kind of getting old. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
We're all getting old, yeah.
yeah, so I'm becoming like I have no time to spend on playing Tekken as much as I used to do.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's the thing. And actually, I don't live in Seoul,
Mm-hmm.
where is that is Green Arcade. That Green Arcade is located at. But then I live kind of far from Green Arcade, so it's like 2 hours or 1 hour half.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's the thing. So I play 4 hours in a week, 5 hours in a week. Of course,
When
if I have a
Go ahead, go ahead.
tournament, then, mhm.
What was the last
Yeah,
thing you said? Sorry.
I play 4 hours or 5 hours in a week.
Okay. Now, that 4 or 5 hours that you play, is it in your mind fun, or is it in your mind a chore? Like you have to go play for 5 hours at least to stay warm
Yeah.
and, to stay good. How do you feel about playing that 5 hours?
Okay, I'll be honest.
Be honest.
It's like something I have to do.
Uh-huh. So you don't
Like a
actually
job.
enjoy playing it.
Well, I still enjoy it, but just there are a lot of things that I enjoy too. So Tekken is obviously one of them.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, okay. So it's one of your hobbies, but it's not important enough to you at this point in your life to allocate more than 5 hours a week or so. May I ask, what are some of your other hobbies that perhaps are occupying the time that you used to spend playing Tekken? What do you do at that time now?
Rollerblading.
Yeah, just normal. I'm just normal person, just study or meeting a friend.
So no other
Yeah.
games, no other hobbies?
No other game.
Wow, so you are getting old. Interesting.
Yeah, but I love this fighting game scene, so that's why I play. I join a tournament. I travel.
Wow, that's very
Yeah,
interesting. Go
yeah,
ahead.
I think it's totally different, Playing a game and joining a tournament is a different thing.
Really? Can you elaborate more on that? What's the difference?
Hmm. Well, we have we play casual match and death match in here, in Korean, especially in Korean arcade.
Hmm.
But it seems like kind of nothing special. I mean, I have been playing at Korean arcade for 5 years, 6 years,
Hmm.
so it doesn't give me something special or
It's boring.
you know what I mean?
I
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. We have tournaments here every week at our local arcade in Southern California, and that I can relate to that feeling because we go every week, we see the same morons every week, and it's like it's nothing special,
Yeah, right.
Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. I understand. And here, when we have a major tournament, I can totally relate to you what you're saying, where it brings out something different. It's not exactly the same. Is there anything else you'd like to elaborate
Yeah,
about that?
there is one more thing related to this thing. I mean, the deathmatch system, card rank system.
Hmm.
I think it ruins Tekken. I think
Really, it ruins
somehow.
Tekken. Explain.
Yeah, I have got like okay. Let's say I have a Tekken from blue rank to purple rank, right? Then it means that I only get a chance to play like top players, right?
Hmm.
Top players whom I know really well about,
Hmm.
like Saint, only practice how, and those are the people who I only play with, right?
Hmm.
So at this point, the card system ruins the game.
So what you mean is, if there was no card system, then every player, like back maybe 10 years ago, every single player would wait in line and play every player, and the field of opponents would be more broad. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, right, right.
Okay, interesting. Go ahead, Rip.
At the same time though, like when you even it's the same thing when you play online now with Tekken Tag 2. When you get higher in ranks, that's when you get less and less opponents.
Right.
And I think that's the same problem with the card system. It's just once you're good enough, then obviously there's only a few players that are going to be that level to compete with. But I think in Korea, it's like since they have like death matching as a thing that happens, you're more limited than say if you play online. I mean, online you only have so many opponents, but I could just be like, well, whatever, I'm just gonna go and like use some bootleg team and play some randoms online right now, which is what I did today. So, it was a lot of fun for me to do that, but obviously I can't use my main team and play these other players anymore either. So I can see that same kind of issue.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting because the whole card system and the ranking system was designed to save the arcade. It was designed to make arcades more fun, more addictive. But what you're saying is, from a competitive standpoint, it becomes boring because you're one of the top players and it limits the amount of competition you have.
Right.
I think that's very interesting. I haven't even considered that because we don't even have... I mean, in Southern California, we have a Tekken Tag 2 cabinet, but we don't really play it, or at least the competitive players don't play on it very often. So I don't even have much experience with the card system in Tag 2. But did you feel that way about the card system in Tekken 6 as well? Because essentially it's the same, right?
No, I didn't feel that day.
Why do you think that is?
I guess it came to me because of a tournament, I guess.
May I make a suggestion as to why you didn't feel that way in Tekken 6? I think perhaps in Tekken 6 there were more good players. There were more people playing.
So?
Yeah, so you are more limited in this game because less people play it.
Yeah, right.
And I could definitely see that happening. I mean, from my perspective, watching Korean videos, I can see that there are less players playing and there are less top players. So
right, that's true.
Yeah, so generally speaking, I would imagine that's the reason why, even if it did exist in Tekken 6, you wouldn't feel it as strongly as a top player until now because of the lack of players. So, okay, interesting. Now, on the topic of playing in the arcade, do you feel as though this 5 hours a week that you spend playing Tekken Tag 2, is it basically just to keep you in form, or are you trying to learn new things? Are you just staying in shape, or are you trying to get better?
4 hours is really short.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not enough.
I know. So
yeah.
What is your answer then? Don't dodge the question. What's the answer?
Yeah, I play in order to keep my performance, to keep it, I don't know.
Sharp. Interesting response. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, but then it's pretty not enough. Yeah, I think I'm like going down.
Interesting. So you don't play enough to maintain your level, you think?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Now let me ask you this. These questions are all popping up. I have no list of questions. They're just things that are coming up. Now, you said you only play a few hours a week. When you're preparing for something like traveling to the United States and playing in final round, do you still only play 4 hours a week, or do you have a different training schedule for a major tournament?
I guess okay, I don't do that like prepare for a tournament, or I don't practice. But still, when I have a tournament like a final round or something else, and I do like a kind of image training, right? Like watching YouTube Anakin's video.
Research. Okay, good.
Yeah, research and image training, and how I just think about what I should do and how to play against some certain characters like that.
Interesting. So homework. Basically, you do your homework and you study. Interesting. Okay, okay. Another thing, this concept of studying made me remember it. In the basic realm of Tekken Tag 2, how important do you feel knowledge is compared to other aspects of the game? Like let me elaborate. When you're playing against an opponent, how important is it for you to know all the details of punishment and everything, as opposed to just solid movement and whiff punish delay catching?
Oh, wow. It's really hard to answer.
Sorry, man. This is how I do it.
Yeah, let me think about it. Wow.
No, it's okay. Take your time.
Mm-hmm.
Let me explain to you why I asked that question, because I feel like it was loaded. I asked that question because I feel like character knowledge is the most important thing in this game. While in Tekken 6, a really good player could get by not knowing exactly how to beat every character, just with general strategies. What do you think?
Yeah, of course. The knowledge. Actually, the knowledge. Yeah,
Is
it
that the
affects
guy in the
us.
back snoring?
Yeah.
It's okay. Don't worry about it. Go ahead.
Okay. The knowledge it help us where should be. I mean, how we space and I think spacing is the most important one in this game. So this is what we have to remind to ourselves, and then the knowledge, yeah, so important.
Okay, spacing is more important, you think?
I mean, spacing is come from the knowledge.
Okay. So it's tied in. You have to know
Even
what you
even
have.
even when you do like a back dash or a dash, you have to have a reason why you would do that.
Interesting. So every movement that you input into the game, you are consciously making that decision for a purpose. It's not like you're just doing a sidestep left. You're doing a sidestep left because you All right, internet. That was a rough one. We're back. My computer has a tendency of blue screening because it doesn't like OBS. So I'm not sure, Rip. Is there a way for me to put these two together later? How do I do that?
You could upload them to YouTube, download from YouTube, put them together, and then re-upload to YouTube. Or if you're
Can I download off Twitch?
Yeah, well, or maybe I don't know.
We're
but
back.
if your OBS is set
My
to automatically
computer has a
record locally, then you
tendency
could
of
just
blue
use those.
screening
And
because
then-
it doesn't like OBS. So I'm not sure, Rip. Is there a way for me to put these two together later? How do I do that?
People are saying, "Oh, it's easy. Just start the show over."
Start the show over. I don't even remember what I said. Okay. Anyway, let's proceed. Hyungjin, you were talking about what the fuck were we talking about? Oh, I remember. We were saying how you think spacing is the most important part. Okay. Is there anything else you wanted to add to that topic?
About spacing.
Just the topic in general.
Oh, sorry?
Just the topic in general. Like, it cut off when you were speaking, so I wanted to give you the opportunity to finish.
All right, and yeah, there's something I realized in America.
That's a big smile.
You don't have to be polite. Nobody is going to negatively think of you in any way if you're honest about players' play style. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, because when you guys size 10, we Koreans we always circulate, kind of circulate or think of where to do it.
Say that again. Say that again.
Let's say we are play against division.
Okay.
Then we normally side step to left side, right? But then division is gonna notice you doing it, so he's gonna do something like something that tracks right side, right?
Hmm.
So this is what we think about in generally playing this game.
Oh, interesting.
But then, but I don't feel this way in America.
Okay. What? How do you feel Americans play the game?
How do I feel?
Like,
They
what do you think is the primary objective in an American player's mind, while you're saying Koreans are thinking of sidestepping and movement like that?
hmm and then it seems they are focusing on some mix-up.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, mix-up.
So you think Americans focus too much on mix-ups and not
Yeah,
enough
it's
on
too.
movement?
Yeah, I think it works in the tournament, but still too much.
Interesting. This is actually a really interesting and deep topic because me personally, I only really care about tournaments. I personally don't even
Mm.
like playing long sets or death matches. I like just 2 out of 3. I like having a game plan against a person and then executing it. And then if it works, that's my game plan. You're
Mm.
saying your play style is not necessarily designed for tournament.
No, I mean, mix-up is of course it can brings you winning, right? But
Mm-hmm.
it's like it can be dangerous. I mean, 50-50. It works, you win. It doesn't work, you lose.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
it? That's the end of your statement? Oh, I thought there was going to be more. Sorry. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's really interesting. Generally, I would say most people think that you're a very defensive and minimalistic type of player. Would you say
Wow.
you don't think so? You don't think you're very defensive?
Yeah, I know. I am.
You agree?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. I mean, generally speaking, that's how people see you, as really solid, really defensive. And you personally, when I watch you play, what I feel is that you make the opponent pay for every little mistake. Really small mistakes, you make them pay big time for it.
Wow.
So that's what I've observed. But generally speaking, you think that American players are relying too much on mix-ups. Do you have anything to add to that, Rip? I think that's a really interesting notion.
Well, I'm thinking back to like in Tekken 5 and DR when cooldowns came down. Like specifically, this Devilton example was something that the American players like Tom Hilfiger and Chad and Rory were telling me about because cooldowns beat me so bad that I was like, how do I beat this character? I want to learn how to beat this character. And they were telling me, side step left, whatever. And so when I played cooldowns, I would try to side step left, and he would start hitting me, whatever. And so I was like, all right, now he knows how to beat that, so now he's gonna do this. So I got to come up with a counter for that.
You're
And so
talking
I'm
really fast. JDCR
okay.
probably is like, what the fuck is this guy talking about?
Long story short,
Slow it down a little
I
for all of us.
I did I did what JDCR suggested basically. Like I was trying to beat him by sidestepping a certain direction, and then when he started to counter it, that's when I had to learn to counter that myself. That play style, I think he's right. I don't think that Americans really use that, and I feel like in this game, or even since Tekken 6, I guess since homing moves came out, like I'm not as concerned about that. Like if somebody is trying to step me left or right, whatever, like I don't have to pick the right move to beat that. I just pick homing move.
Yeah.
It might be just because Laws is really good,
Hmm.
so that I can just use a 14 frame homing move and stop them. But I mean, I think he's right. I think that players here don't sidestep as strategically as they do in Korea.
This is also something that I'm reminded of. So many times, American players have been very surprised at Korean players reaching Tekken God or being very, very good with many, many different characters. And this idea that you just mentioned, Hyungjin, is the explanation. Because if you focus on sidestepping, which every
Yeah, yeah.
character can do, you will be good with every character. But if you focus on the moves and the 50-50s and the mix-ups, you're gonna have to spend too much time focusing on those moves to use them exactly at the right time, and it's just very hard to learn characters in that way. So that is a really interesting thing you mentioned, because it explains how Korean players are so strong with many different characters. It's a very good explanation. So that's
Yeah.
very interesting. So okay, moving on. I want to talk a little bit about your character choice. You play as main characters Heihachi and Armor King, but at final round you also played Dragunov and Kazuya. So
Yeah.
I want to ask you: is there a reason why you're playing Kazuya and Dragunov together? Is it just because you're bored? Does it do something that maybe Heihachi Armor King doesn't do? What is your explanation for using that team?
Okay, first, Armor King is boring, and then actually I find it very effective to play Dragunov against worse players.
Worse players.
Maybe.
Oh, very
Yeah,
interesting. I
because
Go ahead, go ahead.
yeah, it's very complicated, I think, because when I play Armor King, he's not he's unstable, I guess.
What do you mean? Explain.
I don't know. This is just what I feel.
That's okay. That's what I want to know.
And then Dragunov has more like effective move, so easy to play on, like kind of cheap, right?
Okay.
Like a poking, and grabs and 4-4-4-2, and yeah, that's why I play Dragunov actually.
Okay. So generally easier character to win with. I can agree with that. I could definitely agree with that. Now, is there a reason why you're pairing Dragunov with Kazuya as opposed to maybe Heihachi or Armor King?
Actually, there's no specific reason. I just like to play them.
Just the team. You like it for fun.
Yeah, just the team. Kazuya, Dragunov.
Okay, now let me ask you this. So, if that's your for fun team, at what point do you feel as though, okay, now it's serious, I have to try with my main team? I mean, is it something that literally you are finding to be effective in tournament, or is it something that you think you're just doing because you're bored and you want to show your skill?
Um, yeah, it's something that I want to try.
Experiment, huh?
Yeah,
Interesting.
I guess so.
Okay. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about tier lists and
Mm.
characters you think are strong and weak. But before we get into that, I want to ask you, in this game, do you feel as though there are characters that are not viable, like for a high level tournament player? Is there a list of characters that a high level tournament player should ignore? These characters are too weak.
For tournament,
Wow.
of course.
Yeah, for tournament.
For a tournament?
Yes.
No, I don't think so, actually.
Every
There is
character
no
is viable.
Every character is useful in a tournament.
Interesting.
Yeah, right, right. I think so.
Do you have what's the reason for you coming to that conclusion? Why do you feel, even though a character like maybe Beck or Angel or weak characters, why do you think they're still strong?
Okay. No Angel, no Kunimitsu, no Zafina.
Oh, okay. So now there's a
Ignore
list
them.
of characters, huh? Okay, okay. Go ahead, go ahead. Zafina, who else?
Zafina, Angel,
Angel.
um,
Okay.
Kunimitsu, and maybe Yoshimitsu.
Oh, you think Yoshimitsu is not that
Wow.
good for a tournament either?
Yeah, the reason why I think like this is even the worst character, some such as let's see who is worst character.
I think
Yeah,
Beck, other than Dr.
yeah,
B, Beck.
I like yeah. Okay, let's say about Beck. He is okay. Okay. I'm saying he's quite bad in casual match, bad test match,
Hmm.
but in a tournament he is still fixed 50-50 mix up like he's just pushing buttons 50-50 low and mid move, and but sometimes it works to players,
Huh.
right?
So you kind of, it seems like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like you see these characters kind of as like a gamble. Like You go all in, and
Yeah,
you
right.
need
Yeah.
runner clubs. Sometimes at the river, you're going to get a flush. Sometimes you're not going to get shit, and you're going to look like an idiot. And if you land that hop kick, you're going to look like a champion. So, yeah,
All right.
that's really interesting. Very interesting. So it's kind of like a poker sense where, you know, every character can win, but in the long run, a professional poker player is going to play tight, and tight players play solid characters. Interesting. Okay. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, are there any characters in this game, or what is the list of characters in this game that you think is extremely good, above average? And I don't necessarily mean on paper, because everyone knows Mishimas are very strong, and maybe Nina is very strong on paper. But I mean for tournament. Like, what do you think for tournament in 2 out of 3, or maybe 3 out of 5? What are the best characters in this game, in your opinion?
What are the best characters?
And I mean specifically for tournament.
Okay. Okay. First, Mishimars are not as good as in they are in normal casuals.
Mm.
I mean, it seems they are hard. I mean, hard to play in a tournament. That's what I found. And then the best character.
So you think that Mishimas are not top tier in this type of a context?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, interesting. That's very interesting.
And the best character. I don't know.
You
I
don't
don't know yet.
you don't need to pick one. Just what characters come to
Okay.
your mind as very strong tournament style characters? Maybe Jinpachi. I don't know. That's my opinion. I think Jinpachi is a good tournament character.
Maybe I guess Paul.
Really
Oh,
interesting.
Paul.
Why is that?
He seems he has everything.
Really?
Paul and Dragunov.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, actually, there is no one like that.
Really interesting. So you think
I mean, there is no specific like best character in a tournament. No,
you don't think so, huh?
I don't think so.
But you do think that some characters are definitely weaker in tournament?
Japina.
No, but you said for example a minute ago you said that most people agree Mishimas are very good, but in tournament it's very hard. So maybe they're lower on a tournament tier list. You know,
Right.
so if the way I see it is if they are moved down a little bit, then someone else must be moved up a little bit.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
yeah. Someone else move up. Wow, interesting.
Because Deviljin moved down. You know, all the Mishimas they moved down because of tournament. That's the question I'm asking.
All right. Move up. Maybe Jinpachi. Yeah, probably Jinpachi. Yeah, it will be Jinpachi.
Interesting. Okay. I mean, that's what I feel like. I didn't want to pull that out of your mouth, but that's really what I feel like. There are characters like that
Right.
really shine in tournaments like that. Okay, very interesting. Another thing I wanted to ask you about is the scene in Green Arcade and the general competition. So you mentioned that there are less people playing in the arcade now, and there are less top players. So you don't really get to play very many opponents anymore. So now that you have this group of players that are basically, you all know each other, you all play each other very often, is there any kind of rivalry now? Or are you guys all just training partners and you don't really have that aggressive type of rivalry against each other? Does that exist?
Okay, we don't. Okay, normally at arcade, we don't play for practice. We don't have a practice group, or
Okay.
we just play. We just play,
Interesting.
and then and based on this, we get better and better.
But there isn't any kind of like negativity in terms of like a grudge or anything. Like if you play against someone like let's say only practice and he fucks you up and you don't feel like this like you know what I'm talking about. Is that, how does that feel over there? What's the vibe of the arcade scene? Is there tension between everyone, or is it just a bunch of friends?
Half and half.
Ah, see, that's what I'm trying to find out. Now let's talk about the bottom half, my favorite half. The half where people are pissed at each other. So you have rivalries over there, I'm sure. There are people that don't like certain people. Now, how does that translate to the game? Do you ever walk into the arcade and challenge someone, perhaps? Or do you get challenged? How does that work?
I get challenged.
Very often?
No, only from my top players. Actually, like normal people. I mean, the people who has a lower rank than me.
Mm-hmm. Normal people.
Yeah, normal people. I guess they don't like to play with a better players. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they don't want to get their asses kicked.
Yeah, because I guess it is only because of rank.
Huh, interesting. So that goes back to the thing you were mentioning earlier. The rank is kind of like segregating people.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, all right. Rip, you haven't chimed in for a while. Is there anything you'd like to add?
I was just wondering what the green arcade scene is like. I know you don't go to the arcade much anymore, but when I came for Tekken 6, Tekken Crash Time, the arcade was busy, the whole day, like 2 p.m. until like midnight. There was just people there the whole time. Whole arcade was full, and then, if people would play, like you would get less and less people until about 2 a.m. I mean, what's it like there now? Is the arcade full still, like at 6, 8 p.m. normal, busy time, or is it just empty now? Or I have no idea.
It's so different than you are here.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Whoa. Okay, tell us.
I mean, just less people. And yeah, actually, you are here, then I guess you saw so many people at until 2 p.m., 3 p.m., right?
Mm-hmm.
But now, no.
Wow. Why do you think that is?
Sorry?
Why do you think that is? What is the reason?
The reason, basically, the game became harder. And it's very simple. It's same as America, I guess. So
interesting.
The new players come to green or just try to play, and then they get fucked up, and then they get bored, and they just leave the scene, right? But old players like me who has been playing for a long time, we still remained on the scene, and we keep playing. That's the reason the game became harder.
Interesting. Okay. Now let me ask you this. There are players like Qdans.
Sucks.
Yeah, it really sucks. I mean, that's the case here as well. But there are players like Qdans who he retired and then he's like an old school player, and now he plays Tekken Tag 2. So, I mean, do you know what his thinking is? Because here in America, most of the old school players hate the new game. They don't play anymore at all. Do you have any idea? Is there many players like that? Like Nin or, really old school players that still are playing Tekken and still are enjoying it? Does that exist a lot there?
Yeah. I'm not sure if they still like this game most, but then it seems they still have fun and they enjoy it.
I think that's generally the case with people like Rip and I. I mean, even if we don't necessarily love Tekken Tag 2, we still very much love Tekken, and we want to play, and we enjoy the game. So that's really interesting. Despite being all the way on the other side of the world, it seems like the scene is very similar, in many ways, actually, that I didn't even consider. Okay. Another thing that I wanted to ask you about is, so we know Infiltration. You know Infiltration, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's very famous. And he's very famous for when he comes to play a tournament match, when he sits down next to his opponent, he's often looking at notes on his cell phone on his opponent's tendencies and stuff like that. You think that's very funny. You're laughing your ass off. Now, what I wanted to ask is, what are you thinking when you sit down? Let's say JDCR sits down next to I don't want to use Anakin because I'm sure you've done a lot of research on him, even from back in Tekken 6. But I want someone like, let's say, um, who's a good
Just
example,
frame
Rip?
James.
Yeah, Just Frame James. So let's say JDCR sits next to Just Frame James. What's going on in your mind before the match starts? What are you thinking about against Just Frame James?
Wow.
He's thinking Yoshimitsu sucks, so no problem.
No problem. James is a normal person.
Yeah. Um. Wow. Okay. So I just wow. It's so hard.
Sorry,
So I
man.
just play. I mean, I just see it and play to. I like this to download and then to download for like one match and two matches. I guess, and I can read it, and I'm better at normal stuff like spacing, whip punishment, and oh, so I guess I can win like that. Read it
So,
this way.
so from what I'm gathering from what you're saying is basically when you sit down next to an opponent, all you're thinking is that you can win by playing by the book, and if you play by the book, he can't beat you. Is that what you're saying?
No, no, no. All I think is that's normal stuff
Normal
about
stuff.
yeah. What is about wh- which moves give him hard or
Okay, well let me re-ask the question because when you're saying normal stuff, a lot of the people that are listening to you, including myself and Rip, we're all normal people. Not everyone is Tekken legend. So normal stuff to you perhaps may not be normal. So
okay. Normal stuff that I'm saying now is so normal spacing, whip punish like that, frame data, yeah,
okay, that's what I'm asking you. So when you're sitting
kind of
down, go ahead.
Basics.
basic move.
Okay, of your opponent's characters, right?
Right.
So against James, you're in your mind you're going through Law, you're going through Yoshi, and you're thinking about all the important moves.
Yeah.
Interesting. How much are you thinking about your opponent, or are you completely thinking about your opponent's characters?
How much I'm thinking about it.
No, I mean, well, okay, that might have translated poorly, but what I mean is, are you
Uh-huh.
thinking about your opponent as a player, or are you only thinking about Yoshimitsu and Law?
Wow. First, think as a character, Raw and Yoshimitsu, and then play. So and then start to read the player.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah.
How much do you take into the match? Because you said you look at YouTube and you don't necessarily practice, but you practice in your head by researching maybe Anakin or whoever. Now, how much of that researched information that you know do you gather into, do you apply when you're thinking of the match? Like, let's say the match is about to start. Do you think about, oh, I saw this YouTube video where he does this? Are you thinking
Mhm.
those things, or are you just in the moment, right then and there, just playing?
Okay. Against normal people, I normally don't do that. Okay,
Hmm.
because I can still beat them. But the top players, of course, I have to do it, research, and then I try to read his tendency. It's very important, I guess.
Interesting. I remember when I was talking to Nin, I was asking him similar questions like this, except he doesn't speak English nearly as well as you. So it took me like an hour to get one answer out of him. But when I asked him this, he said that he thinks it's extremely important that during the first round, you pick up at least two important pieces of information that you can use later. So is that the type
Right.
of strategy you have as well? Like you're fishing for information that you can use later in the match?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we all have our own tendency.
Hmm.
So, so at this point, we like Nin and me, like saying Korean top players, they don't wanna be on YouTube actually.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
I've discussed this many times on this show before that the existence of YouTube has changed games like Tekken forever, because back in Tekken Tag 1, America would play for many years, and then someone from Korea would come here, and because we don't have YouTube, they would just blow our minds. We had no idea. We didn't even know Wave Dash. We didn't even know anything. True Ogre. You know, there are many things that before YouTube existed, it was like impossible almost for Americans to beat Koreans. But now, Nin and Hao and those guys, they're right, because now Americans can watch Koreans and copy them. And when they come here, they don't have this amazing, overwhelming advantage. We could just watch them all the time. So that's very interesting. How do you feel about that? Do you want your matches on YouTube, or you don't care?
I care. Because even if you don't watch my play on YouTube, but still I'm gonna care about myself playing games. I mean, let's say I'm playing with you, but you have no idea about me, but there's a possibility that I can still think, what if he knows this move? What if he knows my tendency like this?
That's a very deep way to look at this problem. So you think that psychologically it affects you, knowing that your matches are there.
So myself.
Yeah, interesting. So it doesn't matter if Just Frame James has never even heard of you. Just because YouTube exists, you're thinking, oh shit, this guy might know what I'm gonna do or whatever. Wow.
Yeah.
That's very, very interesting. Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, since I started streaming a lot, like this past year, I feel like the same thing. Like I got the one stupid setup where I'll duck when I'm back turn and then do the back turn low trip. Everybody should know this, because I stream so much. But like when I'm in a tournament match, I'll do it, and then like I'm scared to do it because I'm like, he may have seen my stream.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Dude, that's totally true. I mean, I've thought of that a while ago. I realized that because of all the streaming I do, my general play style in Tekken 6 is not going to be that effective. I'm going to have to come up with a new way of playing in general, because everyone can see you all the time. It's like the total opposite of good strategy. Unless you intentionally plant all these interestingly weird seeds in there. But then, then you're only fucking yourself over, because you're planting the seeds, and who knows if anyone's even giving a shit. You're like going through all this trouble to work around the existence of YouTube, and it may not matter. So that's very interesting that you mentioned that. Huh. Okay. Where do you have any stuff you want to add, Rip, while I think of the next question?
Well, I was curious about what he thinks about the Venezuelan players that he played at final round, like Foucault and El Negro.
Definitely, and other players I'll get into too. But how do you feel about Venezuelans? Did you have any experience against them before?
Yeah, of course I had. Yeah, that was not first time in ATP final round. I mean, I played them in France, Venezuela, Finland.
Okay.
And then the final one is ATL final round. So I find it very creative. How they play, and especially El Negro, right? El Negro.
Okay, he's their best one, you think? You sound like the guy behind you.
Yeah, maybe he's the best.
Okay.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
No, I totally forgot that JDCR went to Venezuela. So, I mean, outside of Venezuela, we only see El Negro, we see Foucault, we've seen Jackson 5. But do they have other players in their scene that are just as good as them, or are those three like kind of the main players?
Those three are the best. Yeah.
So you feel like their general scene is not that strong, or do you think like in comparison to other groups of players?
The general scene is totally same as America.
Interesting. Very interesting. Huh. And now I also you mentioned the Venezuelan players. I think that's very interesting. I want to ask you about specific players and how you feel about their play style and how you feel about they stack up against you. Like when you sit down against them, do you feel, for example, let's say Little Majin or Anakin, when you sit down next to these opponents, you have experience with them. You've played them before. Even, El Negro or any of them. Do you feel as though these players could beat you when you sit down next to them? I mean,
Of course, of course.
Really? Okay, so, I mean, it's like your heightened sense of awareness. You respect everyone, basically, is what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like you ever overlook an opponent and maybe they, like, for example, El Negro put you in losers, didn't he?
Yeah, right.
So
He almost won the tournament, one round.
Yeah, how do you feel about that? I mean, like, what's your explanation?
Wow. Okay, the matchup against Negro, it was totally my mistake, I guess, because I played, Dragon off for fun.
Too much fun,
I mean,
huh?
no. I mean, I always try to play him and then want to make him as one of my main character. But now I thought it's very, very, very hard to upset him. And then I can say it totally failed.
Really? Do you have
Yeah.
any specific reasons? Like, what did he do to make you fail with that team?
It's weird because I guess it's like I play him too urgently. Yeah, without no thinking. Just keep poking and down to 4-4-2 grabs. Such as the way normal people play. So yeah, it was my mistake.
Interesting. Okay. What's with the big smile, Rip?
Interesting. Go on.
Why? Explain.
Why?
The chat has been calling you out on saying everything's interesting like this whole show.
Oh,
And that was
sorry.
your response. Interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty different.
I'll try not to
than,
say it, chat. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, playing Dragunov, playing Armor King is pretty different. Dragunov, I don't know why. I'm thinking nothing. Okay.
With Armor King, you're thinking
With
nothing?
Armor King, I am defensive and think so many things.
Oh, maybe you have too much fun with Dragunov and Kazuya.
Yeah,
Sometimes
yes.
when a character is too much fun, you just do it. You just close your eyes and have fun. Oh, that's pretty cool. Okay. Interesting. Man, it's fucking hard
Okay.
making up all these questions. You know, internet.
Fascinating.
Yeah, it's not easy making up all this shit. I didn't do an outline. I'm just talking to this guy. Give me a fucking break. All right, it's not interesting. Anyway, okay, so at this point, you are not playing Tekken that much. You're basically only doing it, a few hours a week. What do you think about the future of Tekken? How long do you plan on playing Tekken? Do you plan on playing Tekken 7 or the next game? What are your plans?
Of course, I play more and more, and of course on Tekken 7 because basically the normal stuff is must be same as this game. Normal stuff, the fundamental of this game.
Mm-hmm. You want it to be the same, or you want it to change?
No, actually it doesn't matter. The game must be like it.
What do you
What
mean?
does that mean?
I don't understand what you mean. When you say it must
Okay.
be like it, do you mean that's what you want, or you're sure
No.
that what it will be?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I want it or not. The game's fundamental of this game, like so sidestep, spacing, weak punish, it has been same, right? From Tekken 5 or 5, 6, Tekken Tag to now. So I guess it probably must be in the same way, right? So
It probably
even though
won't
I
change.
okay, so even though I will okay, let's say even though I will not spend much time on Tekken 7, but still it's a if they have a same fundamental, then I can easily offset to the new game.
But don't you think that because Tekken Tag Tournament 2 is less popular, that perhaps they will change the fundamental system to perhaps make it different? Like, remember, Tekken 4 fundamentally is very different than
Mm-hmm.
Tekken 5, 6, and Tag 2. So,
Mm-hmm.
what if, let's say, the next Tekken game is a little bit different? Not completely, but different in the way that Tekken 4 was different. Do you feel like you'll learn the new game, or do you think you'll stop playing Tekken if it changes?
Wow. Oh wow.
It's hard for old people to old people like me,
I'm
like
not that
Rip, and
old.
I know I'm
I'm
kidding,
gonna
but
play anyway.
people like us that have been playing a while, it's hard to accept change, especially in games that we love. So, do you think that you're an open-minded player, or do you think that if the next game is too different, you may not play?
Yeah, I'm gonna play anyway. It's the only game that I have been playing so long time.
Mm,
So, and then the people, I have a lot of friends
yeah.
who who I know from Tekken.
Mhm.
So we're gonna play.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean that is definitely another situation where. Oh, sorry. Well, it's fucking interesting, man. Fuck you. All right. You know what? I should just cut it off right now. Show all you fucking assholes talking shit. Anyway, what were we talking about? Getting me all riled up.
Yeah.
I don't recall. Okay. So if you guys have anything else that you want to say, Rip, you have anything else? If we don't have anything
Well,
to talk, go ahead. Go ahead.
well, somebody suggested earlier that we should give him the opportunity to ask us questions.
I was just getting to that. I was gonna say, if there's anything you want to say, Hyungjin, or any questions you have for us, do you have any thing that you want to add? Think about it. Can he not hear me?
I don't know.
What?
I was asking.
You are talking to me.
Yes. I was asking if you
Oh,
have any
sorry.
questions for us, or if there's anything that you would want to add that you haven't talked about yet.
Um, there's anything to ask you guys?
Or some topic that maybe you haven't already discussed that you would like to talk about.
Um, I guess I know nothing.
Okay, I got a question then.
Go ahead.
What do you
Yeah.
like? Personally, how do you think the American scene differs from the Korean scene in terms of play style? Like, what do you think Americans need to work on play style wise to get closer to the level of Korean players?
To Korean's level. And it's gonna be, of course, it's gonna be the fundamental of this game. Okay, the one I mean, not only me and Nin and Saint, who have traveled to America, we think like, Core, top player. He's the most good, the best fundamental in America there.
Wow, interesting. Okay.
He looks so Korean style. He knows how to step and how to space. Yeah, maybe so the way he plays is gonna help you guys better. Yeah, I'm sure.
Let me refine that question. So, when you observe players like, let's say, for example, Rip, right, or myself, but I mean, you recently saw Rip play live, in person. So, when you observe someone like Rip, if you were to take someone like him or someone like James or any of these American players who are known players, and if you were to train them, if you were to teach them as your student, what would you tell them to work on? Like, for example, let's use me, but I want to use me because, I don't care what you say, but, I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. Actually, you know what? I don't give a fuck about feelings. Go ahead. What would you tell them they need to do? Like, Rip, you need to do this. You know what I mean? As a trainer, as a teacher.
Okay. Yeah. I got it.
Uh-oh.
The general idea that I get from America is they don't care what the opponent is doing. Okay? They care only for their characters. It seems they don't care how to be defensive or how to guard some move or how to sidestep or they are just focusing on it's like how I kill him.
That's interesting, and I agree. Generally speaking, it's much stronger to consider defense over offense in everything, not just games. But when you observe, at least when I observe many Korean players, for example, Nin, or players like that, they are also very aggressive. So Nin is a pretty aggressive opponent. He's very aggressive. But you think that even though he's being very aggressive, he still has a very defensive mindset, right? So you don't necessarily mean what's happening on the screen. You're talking about what's happening in your mind. Mentally, you have to be more defensive. Okay. Interesting. That's weird because personally, whatever. Yeah, I gotta stop saying that. Every time I'm biting my own tongue, I'm forgetting exactly what I was talking about before that too.
You got it.
This is really you should have never brought it up.
Dude, the chat was talking it all night.
I don't give a fuck. They could kiss my ass, man. I got an interview to do over here, man. Shit's not easy, dude. Let's see one of these assholes do this. Interesting. Anyway, okay. So the last question was about what the fuck were we even talking about, man?
How people are aggressive, but they're still defensive.
Oh no, the advice. Okay. Let me ask you this. What advice would you give to Anakin?
Oh, wow.
He's very good. He's the best player, I think, in America. I don't think you can argue that. What would you tell Anakin? Because he still, despite being the best player in America, is not the best player. So you, knowing that you're a more skilled player than he is, what would you tell a player like that? How does he improve?
Well, I guess he needs just need more experience, and so he needs bigger scene.
Yeah,
more people to play.
Interesting.
But I guess I'm sure it's gonna be very hard for him. So he stopped here. But in order to go up, he needs more player who is on the same level as him. So they play and then they talk to each other, and then that's the way they can go up. But then it's impossible to him.
Wow. So it's impossible. Yeah. I generally agree. I mean, unless you have a pool of opponents who are at similar skill level, it's going to be very difficult to improve, especially if you're better than everybody. Okay. Rip, you got anything? I feel like I want to take advantage.
No, I just like these questions like this. Like, what do you think would help Bronson? Like, what advice would you give to Bronson? What advice would you give to AK?
Well, I mean, the advice that he's giving. Oh, I gotta ask you about AK for sure. Remind me to do that. But the advice that he's giving it seems like it would be advice for everybody because it's an American advice. It's advice for anyone who's not in Korea or Japan. So, yeah, that makes sense. That makes perfect sense. What are your thoughts on AK, Hyungjin?
Wow, AK.
Yeah, he caused a ruckus.
So many people ask me.
He's very
He
young.
can,
That's the big
yeah,
surprise to me.
very
Yeah.
young, and he's I guess he's physically really good, mentally also,
Mentally good?
and physically.
Okay. That's it?
Physically
He
good.
What does physically good mean?
it's like
Good
react,
reflexes,
yeah,
Oh.
reactions.
So fast
reaction.
reaction times. When you say he's mentally strong, do you mean he's brave? Because I feel like he's really brave, not scared.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
right.
That's
And then it
probably.
worked, right?
What's that?
It works so well in the tournament.
Yeah,
Hmm.
if you're gonna be balls out like that and not give a fuck, of course, yeah, it's gonna work. The bravest man wins, I guess. I mean, especially when you have the reactions and the reflexes like that. That was definitely impressive, and it really shows the difference in 12-year-olds back 10 years ago. Because 10 years ago, 12-year-old kids, they didn't even know how to use a fucking, anything. Now I see little kids using cell phones and shit all the time. So in my mind, I'm thinking, how is a 12-year-old able to, have these combos down and understand these concepts? But it's the 12-year-olds of today. They're watching porn and shit at 10 years old these days. I mean, it's all over the internet, man. I didn't know I'm barely figuring out what the internet even is. And these kids know how to use it. So, yeah, I can. Good players are going to be younger and younger, I think, in the future. So, very interesting stuff. Uh, fuck. Anyway, moving on. Unless you guys have anything else to add, I basically am running dry, especially after this fucking blue screen and all this interesting ass shit. Uh, we're gonna move on to bitch callings if you don't have anything else to add.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way as you. Like, I feel like we should take advantage, but I got nothing.
All right, internet, this is your opportunity. Rip, you scan the internet.
I
See if
scanned the chat.
you've been reading the chat, right? There isn't really that
Yeah,
many.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
There wasn't any. Kane asked a question about what JDCR thinks about American regions talking shit to each other instead of trying to help each other.
Good question. Yeah, there's a lot of trash talk here. There's a lot of, yeah, you fucking suck, SoCal sucks, NorCal sucks, whatever. Do you guys have that? First of all, in Korea,
No, no, we
nobody
don't have
talks
that.
shit.
Nobody talks shit.
So you've never said, man, fuck that guy knee. I'm gonna fuck that guy up. That guy's whack. You never say that kind of stuff, or you never it's not spoken of that way.
You never say that.
Why?
Unless you have friends, then never.
Huh? Okay.
We have Asian culture.
Yeah, it's the culture, right? It's just
That's the
generally.
culture.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. How do you feel about that in America? You must have a lot of fun then. When you come to America, it's like totally different.
Yeah, at first I was shocked actually.
Yeah, that's what every Korean player I've talked to says. At first, I was stunned. I didn't even understand it. Now it's like it's fun, right?
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, that's basically how we keep things lively here in America. We do a lot of
I
trash
like.
talking.
Yeah, it's good.
I think the reason we do that here is because the country is so large and our groups of good players are so far from each other that since we don't have the arcade scene that you said that we need for players like Anakin to improve, since we don't have that, we have to do something to kind of drive us or to motivate
Motivate.
us. Yeah, motivate us to be good. And the number one motivation, I think, in America is, our region, defending our region. So Southern California wants to go to Atlanta, or Northern California wants to come to Southern California and represent their region. So that's pretty cool. Okay. I guess it's our attempt at perhaps emulating that arcade that we don't have. Okay.
I got some questions from the chat.
Yeah, for sure. Fire away.
All right, here we go. What do you think, JDCR, is the hardest thing for a new player to learn about Tekken?
The first one should be we have so many characters and so many moves. So
So just basic
and
knowledge.
then I'm
about
sure
each set?
they are gonna get confused what I should learn first, or yeah, and then there's no learning guides, that's the problem actually.
So, if there is a lot of moves, like you said, what do you think people should focus on if they're new?
They're new. Wow. They should focus on watching some watch on YouTube.
And that's for the purpose of understanding what is useful and what is not useful, I presume, right? Okay, interesting. So watch first, observe what's effective, and then try to copy, right? Okay.
You just copy. Yeah, that's what I did in 15.
Oh yeah, okay. That's what you did. That's basically what everyone does now. I mean, that's what before YouTube, I was downloading on 56K. I was downloading matches and I was downloading Tag 1 or whatever.
Yeah,
Soul
me too.
Calibur. That's what we
Yeah.
did back in the day. And now
Yeah,
it's
me
so readily available for everybody that that's really the best way to improve. Copy people that are better than you. Observe what they're doing. Interesting. Okay. Next question,
Okay.
Rip.
All right. When you're playing in your match, are you keeping your eye on your opponent's character, or are you keeping an eye on both characters on the screen the whole time?
On the
This is something that
opponent.
I'm interested in too.
On the opponent. Yeah.
Only the opponent. So you don't really care, like you know where your character is on screen really, but you look at what they're doing the whole time.
Wow. Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
Unless I don't I focus on the whole monitor and then the opponent. Yeah.
Okay. And then next question. Who is your favorite Tekken player? Not necessarily the best Tekken player, but just who is your favorite Tekken player?
My favorite. Nin. Nin Steve.
And why?
Nin.
And Steve.
Why do you say that?
So creative.
Yeah,
Wow.
I agree. He uses a lot of moves, a lot of different moves, and a lot
Marduk?
of
No, Marduk, no. Ganyon, no. Only Steve.
only Steve.
So
Okay,
creative.
okay.
Wow.
Very interesting. I like
Okay,
that.
people want to know who you think are the top 5 American players. Your top 5 for America.
Anakin. Mr. Raps. And then. Mm, maybe Cole. Cole and Fab.
Fab.
Yeah, and Bronson, I guess.
Interesting.
So fighting GM, no?
Yeah, fighting gem too. Yeah.
Honorable mention. Okay.
Alrighty. And are you interested in Tekken Cross Street Fighter at all?
Yeah, I'm interested in it. Yeah, of course.
Okay. And next question: why is Sunchip so gay?
What? No,
Good question,
he's
man.
now he's becoming big as a man.
Oh, okay. And then somebody asked, I mean, you don't have to answer.
Chip's so gay.
He
Is
wears
he the
nice
one that wears
outfits, man.
those weird ass onesies?
The Ferrari, yeah.
Yeah.
So gay.
I think that guy's pretty fucking cool, man.
Yeah.
That guy's badass.
Yeah, he's good, man. He's good. And then you don't have to answer this one, but people ask, like, do you have any beef with Knee? Like, I remember last
yeah,
time,
we
final
gotta
round,
ask.
like, people were like, oh, that's a serious situation there, you know. So you can decide if you want to answer that or not.
Yeah, do you know what he means by beef? Do you have beef with
Beef. Ah,
Like
yeah.
grudge.
Anakin told me, yeah.
Beef usually is more serious than just a grudge. Having beef with someone generally means like, fuck that guy. Like for example, never mind. Never mind. I don't want to
What?
get in trouble.
Okay.
I was gonna talk about people I have beef with, but I don't want any
Okay.
fucking problems. But yeah, is there like a serious rivalry? Are you guys how is the relationship between you as players? Americans are very curious about this.
Me and me.
Yeah.
We are not like beef, but still we don't talk to each other and then
Not even strategy at all. Like you never talked to him about Tekken ever?
we used to do it before.
Yeah, because I remember in MLG in Tekken
Yeah, right. Yeah.
6, you guys, I remember the first thing he said was he called you Undead Face. And I was like, what the fuck? I mean, first of all, you're adorable. And secondly, he's talking shit. So I assumed that maybe you were on a level where you guys can, shit talk to each other. So there was something that occurred. You don't have to talk about it if you don't want to, but something happened and you guys are now beefing over it, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, fair enough. There is definitely a grudge. It's probably similar to Anakin and GM in the sense that, they talk shit to each other. When they play each other in tournament, they shake hands and everything's cordial. But deep down inside, they want to, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, any more questions?
That's all I got.
That's all you got, huh? Okay,
that's all I got.
If that's all we got, we can move on to bitch callings.
Yeah.
Rip, you can go first. I'll let Hyungjin. You don't have.
I wasn't
bitch
ready,
calling?
dude. I was not ready for that. That came out of nowhere.
Okay, well, you know what happens.
You go first. You go first.
Me?
Yeah, you go first.
Who's a bitch? Hyungjin, are you ready? Do you know who's a bitch?
Yeah.
Go ahead. You first.
Okay. So, just show me how you guys do it.
Oh, okay. Well,
Oh, crap.
I'll give you an example of what I mean. Like, for example, let's say there could be a lot of reasons to call someone a bitch. Like, if somebody beat me yesterday, or if I didn't go yesterday to the tournament, but if I were there and someone beat me, you could call them a bitch. Or if someone owes you money, like Jedi Rob, I've called him a bitch a couple times because he owes me money. I called that guy Naklam a bitch because he's a total fucking moron. Let's see. There are a lot of people you could call. This bitch calling segment is really open-ended because you could call me a bitch if you want for whatever reason, or you can do a real serious bitch calling where you're like, you know what?
Wow.
Fuck this guy. If you want, you could take this opportunity to just vent whoever is a bitch. So
Okay, I got mine ready.
go ahead. This will be an example. Go ahead, Rip.
Yes. So the person I'm going to call a bitch this week, I'm making it very formal, is Speed Kicks. Because Speed Kicks was in my chat. He hasn't been in my chat for a long time. He finally comes back, and then he snipes me in a match, and I'm whooping his ass, and I'm about to win the match, and then, boom, lag switch. He starts lagging down like 1 bar. I drop the combo, and he does some bullshit with Lars, and I lose. So Speed Kicks is a bitch.
So you think he was lag switching you? I doubt that he would do that.
He's a lag switcher, dude.
That was your bitch calling?
Yeah.
I did not like it. I did not like it at all.
He's a bitch.
You're calling him a bitch for beating you in an
He's a
online
bitch.
match?
Hey, man. That was my victory. Don't take it away from me.
All right, I guess. My
Wow.
bitch calling is going to be, this is kind of old, but I'm going to call BL a bitch.
Wow.
I'm going to call BL a bitch because BL, he's been around for a long time, and he's been, doing really well in Soul Calibur and stuff. And at SCR, I played him in the winner's bracket. And this guy, first of all, he brought like a little doll, little voodoo doll of me, right? And he was trying to use that, I guess, to get in my head, right? And I was thinking, ooh, you just made a sucking on an imaginary dick face. Rip.
Yeah. I got a real bitch. Go on.
Okay, good. See, I got to inspire it out of you. But this guy came into that tournament with that dumb toy, and I have it. It's right here, actually, now that I think about it. Boom. This toy. And he's like, I got a voodoo doll, and she's trying to get in my head. And then when I played him in the winner's side, and it was 3 out of 5, he picked Raphael, which was kind of a mix-up, and he beat me 2 games straight. And Tomahawk was the one that decided last minute that this was going to be a total full-on 3 out of 5 tournament, beginning to end. So if it were 2 out of 3, BL would have beaten me because he won the first 2 games. So I'm going to call him a bitch because he tried taking advantage with Raphael, and it took me 2 games to wake up out of there, or he would have put me in losers, and that would have been a catastrophe, I think. So, yeah, BL is a bitch for trying those underhanded Raphael tactics. He's my bitch calling.
That was weaker than mine, dude.
How was that weaker? At least it was fucking
was way
offline.
weaker. All right, dude. If you say so, man.
giving-
I mean, you didn't even lose. You didn't even lose the tournament set to him. Nothing happened. Oh, you got it back.
Don't ever try that on me again. That's what I'm trying to say.
So my bitch call, my actual bitch call this week, which is a repeat, I'm sure, from some other week, is Run It Black. Because last Friday, or whatever it was, when we had that Friday tournament, was that last Friday? Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
You know, he brought up all that Miss Mexico stuff. You know what I mean? Like, he is such a moron.
Oh, yeah.
I've been dealing with that for like a week now, and like, he's such a moron.
You know, the internet really wants to know what that story is. Is there a way to tell it?
No.
There's a way. There must be a way, right?
No.
You can't clean it up?
No. Oh, so yeah, you guys can go watch that stream archive because I owned him really good on it anyway, but he's still a bitch for bringing it up and like making me deal with it for another week. So twitch.tv/IE Battlegrounds, boom.
You bringing that up is going to make him just bring that up for the rest of your life.
Whatever.
Nice work. Okay, so this is basically what we mean. We call people bitches in that way. Go ahead, Hyungjin. Who's your bitch calling?
Well, it's fun. Wow, I'm so awkward at this culture.
Don't worry about it. You're getting better, man. You're getting really good, dude. I'll get to this later, but go ahead. Who's your bitch calling?
Okay, so my bitch call is gonna be Saint.
Okay.
Okay, so first I have to say I'm not supposed to call him a bitch in Korean culture, but he is not here and this is American culture. So
yeah.
So okay, actually there's no specific reason, but he always throws at me. Like, you know, when I took him to America, his first MLG.
Yeah.
And then, so so before he decided to go there, I just tell him like, hey Saint, I'm gonna go to America. There's such a big tournament, MLG. So he's like, and then we are not that close at that time, and he was like, why don't you take me?
Okay.
Why don't you take me? Okay, it was okay. So I said, okay, just I will take you. So just book your flight, and then I took him, and then I helped him everything English, and then about the rule of the tournament, and then after that he keeps trolling at me. Every tournament that I join, he suddenly call me and why don't you take me again?
Ah, okay. He's like a stray dog. You feed him one time, he keeps fucking coming back, huh?
Okay. He just talks shit to me, right?
Okay.
And then after I was in losers bracket after beating by El Negro, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I came back to Korea. He made fun of that.
You know
hey,
what?
Jade,
Go ahead.
How come you are in losers? You are such an idiot. And then, and then after, there was a five big tournament in Japan, right? And then he came back and he just called me and then he said, why didn't you come here? Why didn't you come? If you are there, we could have won this time. The reason we lost this time is only because of you, JDCJ.
Wow. Okay. So he's blaming it on you, huh?
No, see, it's because of me not coming there. So he just trusts in me. So of course today I just called him and then, hey, I'm gonna be on the show with Alice. Do you know him? He was like, oh yeah, I remember him. So can I go there?
Okay, he wants to be on the show too.
Of course you can come. So just call me when you wake up, and he didn't call me.
Oh, okay. Is that him in the back?
He's sleeping still on the couch in the back.
That'd be
hilarious. He's playing League of Legends, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. That reminded me of something that I wanted to ask you. So we're going back to another question. Real quick, just to get an idea. How do you feel Japan has changed in terms of skill level from Tekken 6 to Tekken Tag 2?
Change it.
yeah, do you think Japan is stronger at this game than they were at Tekken 6, or weaker at this game?
Ooh, well, actually, I can't answer it because I had no experience in Tekken 6 VR with them, so
Ah,
I
okay,
don't.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was just curious about that. All right. Well, unless there's anything else to add. Oh yeah, Repaul at Repaul on Twitter. TK
Oh, hey.
Yeah, yeah.
No, sorry. I was just gonna say I'm giving away an arcade stick to my twitch.tv/level up your game subscribers tomorrow.
Check it
So
out,
if
internet.
anyone wants to be in there, eligible, you know what to do.
Check it out. Twitch.tv/level up your game, and then JDCR's Twitter is at TKJDCR. So you can hit him up on there if we didn't get any questions answered that you wanted to get answered. I have to tell you, Hyungjin, there's something that I have to really get across here. Personally, as a Tekken player, you know, I've always been very interested in talking to Korean players and Japanese players, players that are better than me. And for a long time, and I've told you this before, a long time, Mad Dog Jin lived here, very close to me. And I spent a lot of time hanging out with Mad Dog Jin. And at the time, I mean, he's one of my favorite players ever. And I really wanted to talk to him. And I really wanted to ask him questions, like the way I was able to do with you today. And I really have to tell you that I can't say enough how much I appreciate that you learned how to speak English, and you are so good at it that I can have this conversation with you. And it really, honestly, a lot of people, you know, are really benefiting from this. This is something that people wanted for many, many years, to be able to talk to a top-level Korean player and understand exactly what he's saying. And, you know, the fact that you can articulate as well as you can and speak English as well as you can is really impressive to me. The first time I met you was in Japan. Remember when you stayed in my room that one time? I mean, you couldn't even speak English. It was like you didn't even speak any English. And the next time I saw you, you were like a college professor. I'm just shocked. I'm very impressed. Nin,
Thank you.
his English fucking still sucks. His English still. Mad Dog Jin lived in America for like 6 months, and he didn't even know how to fucking order coffee. So, very, very impressive. I cannot thank you enough. Many, many people, I'm sure, agree with me on that. So, all right, man. I'm not gonna suck your dick anymore. I really appreciate you being on the show, and we'll see you guys all later, internet. Take it easy.
Yeah, thank you.
See
See you guys.